Hi everyone! This series of videos is going to take you through page 9 in the new packet, which is about geometric sequences. As a reminder, this is not a packet that you got in class. This is a packet that I've released since we've been doing online learning, so it's your responsibility to make sure that you have the correct page. The PDF or the blank file of the page is in our learning plan, and if you have access to a printer, you can print and follow along with the copy on your own. If you don't have a printer, I suggest that you keep an extra tab open so that you can see the questions, and you can do the questions along with me on your own piece of paper or on scratch paper so that you can at least follow where the questions are coming from. In any case, I do want to make a disclaimer before I start this first video about what exactly this page is about so that you can understand whether watching the videos is going to be worth your time. As you probably know, all of these videos are optional, and it's because I know that some people can figure things out without needing me to explain them. Some people can figure things out by just looking at the answer key, and some people just have very good instincts for things and they can figure it out without needing my explanation at all. The purpose of this video is obviously to help those who don't necessarily want to teach themselves and who want to be able to follow along with some guidance. The other disclaimer that I should make is that this video, and really this entire playlist, might take you in a direction through these problems that could potentially be a little confusing. And I want to say that not to scare you right off the bat out of watching these videos, but to just be straightforward. One of the things I'm going to do in this video is some algebra to avoid the need for guess and check. But again, in the interest of disclaimers, I want to mention, if you're good at guess and check, you may end up wanting to skip the method that I show in these videos and just use guess and check for all of the questions on page 9, and that would be completely fine. Some people just use guess and check for everything, and it works out for them really well. So if you think you might want to do this first series of problems with the guess and check method, and if you like guess and check, I'll just give you a couple of tips right off the bat to save you the time of needing to do all of these procedures in all of the parts in question number 1 and question number 2. The first thing I'll mention if you're going to do a guess and check problem is to consider having a calculator nearby. I obviously use this style calculator, but any calculator will do. Even if you have a phone calculator or a calculator more like this style, any sort of calculator is fine, but we're going to deal with some big numbers today because we're going to be dealing with what we call geometric sequences. Geometric sequences are sequences that have a multiplying pattern. You may remember that from previous lessons. Geometric means that it has a multiplier that makes the pattern work. So when you're looking at questions like number 1 today, the word that you'll want to have in your head is multiply. A geometric sequence is a sequence that involves multiplying. So picture, if you will, the table at the top of question number 1, and picture there being some multiplier. A multiplier means that I'm going to take something times an unknown number that I don't know, and I'm going to get to 12. But I'm going to multiply that same unknown number, and I'm going to get to something. Multiply again, I'll get to something. Multiply again, I'll get to 96. So naturally, your challenge is to figure out what were we multiplying by that can connect this 12 to this 96. The reason I'm saying that guess and check might work here is because if you can just look at this thing and guess some numbers until you happen to find a value that connects the 12 to the 96, that's completely fine. In fact, if your instinct is already telling you to try a couple of numbers, I think you should, because guess and check might be a great way of doing this problem. Before I guess and check though, I just want to make sure that I answer question letter A with you. It says assume the sequence is geometric. Why is it difficult to tell what the multiplier is just by looking at the table? I'm not going to write an answer to this question, but I'll certainly say an answer, and you can pause the video and write my words if it helps. Personally, I think it's hard to just know what the multiplier is because of these gaps in between. It's not like I can see, oh, 12 times something takes me immediately to the next number. I can't see what's in that gap, and I can't see the next gap either. So the fact that there's all this missing information, that's what makes it hard to tell, because we're missing info. And the missing info makes it hard to see the multiplier. That's why we're going to have to do some guessing. So in letter A, I would say it's difficult because we're missing information. But to compensate, in letter B, it says, is it possible to use guess and check? Yes, it is totally possible to guess and check multipliers until we find the right one. Some people like guess and check because it's easy. Some people don't like guess and check because it takes patience. So I'll ask you to think about, in letter B, your own personal pros and cons to using guess and check. There's no right answer to this question because it's all relative to you. If you're a really good guesser, then everything might be a pro. Guess and check is easy for you. You have a calculator. Your brain is wired that way. You might have lots of pros that you can list as reasons why you want to try this problem with guess and check. Cons would probably be for people who maybe don't have the patience for guess and check, or they don't have a calculator, or they don't know efficient ways of guessing and checking, so they just end up getting easily frustrated. And some people just don't like guessing. They just like to do algebra. So you have to think for your own self about the pros and the cons. Now, the reason why I'm going to stop this video a little bit short is because I want you to take the time to think about whether guess and check is going to work for you, and I want you to make a decision. If you think that you want to do the guess and check method to be able to figure out the rest of the answers to this question, then you're going to watch the very next video in this playlist where I'm going to talk about guess and check. If you don't want to guess and check because you just know that that strategy doesn't suit you, you should skip the next video and jump to the one after, because that's where I'm going to show letter C. Letter C is where I'm going to show some actual algebra. And I don't think you need to do it both ways. I think you should watch one video or the other. So make a decision for yourself. Which video are you going to watch? Are you going to watch the video for letter B, which is going to be the guess and check method? Or are you going to watch the video for letter C, which is the algebra method? You decide. Video B is guess and check, and video C is algebra. Decide which one you personally feel that you would benefit more from watching, and watch that video to help you get through the rest of question number 1.